The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with excitement. Ambassador Ix Theta of the Krellian Empire stood before the assembly, his four arms gesturing wildly as he spoke. The holographic display behind him showed a small blue planet orbiting a yellow star in an unremarkable spiral arm of the galaxy. Earth, he announced with barely concealed greed. A primitive world with abundant resources and a species that has barely mastered nuclear fission. They have no faster-than-light travel, no energy shields, and their military consists of projectile weapons and chemical explosives. The other council members leaned forward with interest. The Vorthan delegate's tentacles writhed with anticipation. "How many ships do they possess?" she asked. "According to our scouts, they have achieved limited space flight. A few stations, some satellites, and vessels that can barely reach their own moon," the Ix Theta replied. "They call themselves humans, and they spend more time fighting each other than looking to the stars." Laughter rippled through the chamber. The mighty civilizations of the Galactic Council had conquered thousands of worlds. Each member species commanded fleets of warships that could glass entire planets. To them, Earth seemed like a ripe fruit waiting to be plucked. "I propose we divide the planet among ourselves," the Draknari representative growled. "My people claim the northern continents. The minerals in their mountain ranges will fuel our forge worlds for centuries. The oceans belong to us," the Aquari ambassador bubbled. 70% of the planet's surface is water. Perfect for our colonization. ZYX Theta raised his primary arm. "The Krellian Empire discovered this world. We claim first rights to their population. 7 billion slaves will serve our minds well." The debate grew heated as each species staked their claim. None of them noticed the small drone hovering outside the council chamber, its cameras recording everything. The drone was no bigger than a fist, coated in materials that made it invisible to their sensors. It had been there for months, patiently gathering intelligence. On Earth, in a bunker buried deep beneath Cheyenne Mountain, General Sarah Chun watched the live feed with grim satisfaction. Around her, dozens of officers and analysts worked at their stations, monitoring similar drones throughout council space. "They think we're defenseless," Colonel James Rodriguez said, shaking his head. "Just because we don't advertise our capabilities." Chun nodded. 20 years. 20 years since we reverse-engineered the crashed Zephyrin Scout ship. 20 years of building in secret while pretending to be primitive. The holographic displays around them showed the true extent of Earth's hidden fleet. Massive dreadnoughts, each one 3 kilometers long, waited in the shadow of Jupiter. Their hulls were made from alloys that the Galactic Council hadn't even theorized yet. Their weapons systems combined human ingenuity with alien technology in ways their enemies couldn't imagine. "How many ships do we have ready?" Chun asked. 15 dreadnoughts, fully operational. Another 10 will be combat-ready within the month. The smaller craft number in the thousands, Rodriguez reported. The shipyards on Titan are working around the clock. Chun turned to her intelligence officer. "What's the Council's timeline?" "Based on their discussions, they'll vote on the invasion in 3 days. Their fleet will take another week to assemble. We're looking at 10 days before they arrive." "More than enough time," Chun said. She activated her command console. "Send the activation signal." Operation Silent Thunder is a go. Across the solar system, humanity's hidden defenders stirred to life. On Mars, camouflage hangar doors opened, revealing squadrons of fighters. In the asteroid belt, weapon platforms powered up their reactors. And in Jupiter's shadow, the Dreadnoughts began their system checks. The galaxy thought Earth was defenseless. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Admiral Krextor stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Decimator, watching the assembled might of the Galactic Council fleet. 300 warships from 7 different species hung in formation, their weapons powered and shields raised. It was overkill for a primitive world, but the Council wanted to make a statement. No world could resist their combined might. "Set course for the Sol system," he commanded. "Maximum speed. I want to be in orbit around Earth within 6 days." His tactical officer, a six-eyed Vorthan, spoke up. "Admiral, our sensors are detecting some unusual readings from the target system. There appear to be more artificial structures than our scouts reported." Krextor waved a dismissive claw. "The humans have been busy building their primitive stations. It matters not. Their nuclear weapons cannot even scratch our shields." The fleet jumped to hyperspace, confident in their superiority. They had conquered worlds with antimatter weapons and plasma cannons. What could a species that still used chemical rockets possibly do against them? 5 days later, the fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system. Immediately, alarms began screaming across every bridge. "Admiral," the tactical officer's voice was high with panic. "We're detecting massive energy signatures throughout the system. There are ships here. Hundreds of them." Krextor stared at his displays in disbelief. Where there should have been empty space, massive vessels waited. The human dreadnoughts were unlike anything in the Council's databases. Their angular hulls bristled with weapon ports, and energy readings suggested power cores that dwarfed even the decimators. "Impossible," he breathed. "The scouts said they had no fleet." "Sir, we're being hailed," the communications officer reported. On screen, Krextor ordered, trying to maintain his composure. The image that appeared was of a human female in a black uniform. Her dark eyes held no fear, only cold determination. "Galactic Council Fleet, I am Admiral Chun of the Earth Defense Force. You have entered our sovereign space with hostile intent. You have one chance. Turn around and leave. This is your only warning." Krextor's mandibles clicked in amusement. "You dare threaten us? We are 300 strong. You may have hidden some ships, but they cannot stand against the combined might of the Council." Chin's expression didn't change. "We know exactly who you are, Admiral Krextor. We know your ship's shield frequencies, your weapon capabilities, and the psychological profiles of every commander in your fleet. We've been watching you for a very long time." The human admiral held up a small device. "This is a recording from your council chamber 5 days ago. Would you like me to play back the part where you discussed enslaving our population?" Cold fear crept up Krextor's spine. How could they have been inside the council chamber? It was the most secure location in the galaxy. "You have 10 minutes to begin your withdrawal," Chin continued. "After that, we will defend ourselves." The transmission ended. Krextor turned to his officers. "All ships, battle formation. They're bluffing. They must be prepared to attack. But doubt not at him. How had the humans hidden such a fleet? How had they penetrated council security? And why did their ship's energy readings make his instincts scream danger?" 8 minutes passed. The human fleet hadn't moved, waiting like predators in the dark. Krextor could feel the nervousness spreading through his fleet. Several captains were requesting orders, their voices uncertain. "Admiral," his science officer spoke up. "I'm analyzing their hull composition. The readings don't make sense. The molecular structure it's nothing like anything in our databases. And their power signatures indicate energy generation methods we've only theorized about." 9 minutes. Krextor faced a choice: retreat and face disgrace, or attack and hope the humans were indeed bluffing. His pride made the decision for him. "All ships advance. Show these primitives the price of defying the Galactic Council." The Council fleet surged forward. 300 ships, the pride of 7 civilizations, bearing down on Earth. They had no idea they were flying into a trap 20 years in the making. The first sign that something was wrong came when the Council fleet's sensors went haywire. Every ship suddenly lost target lock on the human vessels. Where moments before there had been clear sensor returns, now there was nothing but ghost images and false readings. "What's happening?" Krextor demanded. "Unknown, Admiral," his tactical officer responded frantically. "It's like space itself is bending around their ships. Our targeting computers can't get a lock." Then, the human dreadnoughts moved. Despite their massive size, they accelerated with impossible speed, closing the distance in seconds. The Council fleet opened fire, hundreds of energy beams and plasma bolts streaking through space. They hit nothing. The human ships seemed to phase in and out of reality, their forms wavering like mirages. Weapons fire passed harmlessly through afterimages while the real ships appeared elsewhere. Spatial displacement technology, the science officer whispered in awe. They're not just moving through space, they're folding it around themselves. The human counterattack began. From the Dreadnoughts came weapons the Council had never seen. Beams of twisted gravity that tore ships apart from the inside. Projectiles that phased through shields as if they didn't exist before solidifying inside hull armor. Clouds of nanomachines that ate through metal like acid. The Decimator shook violently as something impacted its hull. Krextor watched in horror as sections of a ship simply ceased to exist, perfect spheres of matter vanishing into nothing. "Shields are useless," someone screamed. "They're using some kind of dimensional weapons. They're removing parts of our ship from this reality." The pride of the Krellian fleet, a battleship that had conquered dozens of worlds, was being taken apart piece by piece. Around them, the Council fleet fared no better. The Draknari heavy cruisers, built to withstand direct hits from antimatter bombs, crumbled like paper. The Vorthan destroyers, famous for their speed, couldn't outrun weapons that bent space itself. But it wasn't just the technology that shocked Krextor. It was the tactics. The humans fought with a coordinated precision that put the Council's forces to shame. Their smaller fighters moved in perfect synchronization, like a single organism with thousands of parts. They targeted weak points with surgical precision, disabling ships without destroying them when possible. "They're not trying to kill us all," Krextor realized. "They're making a point." His revelation came too late. A squad of human assault craft had attached to the Decimator's hull. Krextor watched his security feeds as armored human soldiers cut through his ship's defenses. They moved with mechanical efficiency, using weapons that adapted to each species they encountered. Non-lethal for the most part, but devastatingly effective. Within minutes, they had reached the bridge. The doors exploded inward, and human soldiers poured in. Krextor reached for his sidearm, but found himself frozen in place, caught in some kind of stasis field. A human soldier approached, their armor featureless black. When they spoke, their voice was translated perfectly into Krellian. "Admiral Krextor, by order of Earth Defense Command, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit genocide and enslavement of sapient beings." "This is impossible," Krextor managed to say. "You're primitives. You don't have faster-than-light travel." The soldier's helmet retracted, revealing a young human male with hard eyes. "We don't need it. We found something better. While you were racing through hyperspace, we were learning to step outside normal space entirely. While you built bigger guns, we learned to manipulate fundamental forces. While you conquered weaker species, we were preparing to defend ourselves." Through the bridge windows, Krextor could see the battle was over. Nearly 100 Council ships drifted powerlessly, their weapons and engines disabled. The rest had been destroyed, but even in destruction, the humans had been merciful. Escape pods were being carefully collected by human rescue vessels. 20 years ago, one of your scout ships crashed on our world," the soldier continued. "The pilot survived long enough to tell us about the Galactic Council, about how you prey on younger species. He warned us he would come eventually." "The Zephyrin scout," Krextor whispered. "We thought he died in an accident. He died saving us. We've spent every day since then preparing for this moment, building, learning, watching." The soldiers stepped back. "Your invasion fleet has failed. The question now is what message you'll take back to your council." Krextor's mandibles clicked in defeat. The humans hadn't just defeated them. They had humiliated the greatest military force in the galaxy without even revealing their full capabilities. The real message was clear. Earth was not defenseless. It never had been. The Galactic Council chamber had never been so silent. The surviving members of the invasion fleet stood in restraints before the assembly, their pride shattered along with their ships. Admiral Krextor had been forced to play the battle recordings for all to see. The mighty Council fleet reduced to scrap metal in less than an hour. But It wasn't the military defeat that terrified them. It was what came after. A holographic figure materialized in the center of the chamber. Admiral Chen appeared, but this time she wasn't alone. Behind her stood representatives of Earth's United Nations, scientists, and military leaders. The diversity of the human species was on full display, yet they moved with unified purpose. Members of the Galactic Council, Chen began. We return your survivors as a gesture of goodwill. Consider this a lesson in the danger of assumptions. The Vorthan Prime speaker writhed her tentacles nervously. How did you develop such technology without detection? Our scouts have monitored your world for decades. A human scientist stepped forward. Your scouts saw what we wanted them to see. Every satellite launch that failed actually succeeded. Every research facility that appeared to study primitive fusion was actually developing dimensional physics. We turned your arrogance into our shield. Chen continued, but we didn't gather you here just to gloat. We have a proposition. The chamber erupted in nervous whispers. The Draknari warlord growled. You dare make demands after attacking a council fleet? We defended ourselves, Chen corrected sharply. You came to enslave our people and steal our world. But, despite that, we're offering you something better than conquest. The hologram expanded, showing technical schematics that made the council's scientists lean forward in shock. Energy generation methods that defied their understanding. Medical technology that could extend life across species barriers. Agricultural techniques that could feed worlds with minimal resources. For 20 years, we've innovated in secret, Chen explained. Not just weapons, but solutions. Our dimensional technology can make hyperspace obsolete. Our medical advances can cure diseases that have plagued your worlds for millennia. Our energy systems can power entire civilizations cleanly. And you would share this? The Aquari ambassador's voice bubbled with skepticism. Under the right conditions, Chen replied. First, the Galactic Council will recognize Earth's sovereignty and guarantee our independence. Second, you will end the practice of conquering and enslaving younger civilizations. Third, you will establish true diplomatic relations with humanity as equals. The Krellian Emperor himself stood, his four arms gesturing angrily. You think to dictate terms to us? We who have ruled for thousands of years. Chen's expression hardened. Yes, because the alternative is worse for you. We've shown mercy today, but make no mistake. We have weapons we didn't use, ships you didn't see, and we're not the only primitive civilization in the galaxy. How many others have been hiding their true strength? How many are watching this very moment, seeing that the Council can be defeated? The implications hit the chamber like a shockwave. If Earth could hide such power, how many other worlds had done the same? How many species were waiting for a sign of weakness? Furthermore, Chen added, we've already made contact with 12 other pre-space civilizations. They've seen our example. Some are quite interested in our dimensional technology. Imagine facing not one Earth, but dozens, all advancing at our accelerated pace, all remembering how you treated weaker species. The Council members exchanged worried glances. Their entire power structure was built on technological superiority and intimidation. If that facade cracked, you need us, Chen said simply. Accept our terms, and the galaxy enters a new age of cooperation and advancement. Refuse, and watch your empire crumble as species after species realizes they don't need to fear you anymore. The Zephyrin ambassador, whose people had always been reluctant conquerors, stood slowly. The humans speak wisdom. Perhaps it's time for change. One by one, other voices joined in. The younger species who had been forced into the Council. The client races who had suffered under the elder species rule. Even some of the conquerors began to see the writing on the wall. We'll need to vote, the prime speaker said weakly. Take your time, Chen smiled. But remember, Earth is watching, and we're not the patient type. The hologram flickered off, leaving the Council to face a new reality. The galaxy had thought Earth was defenseless. Instead, Earth had become the catalyst for revolution. 6 months had passed since humanity broke its silence. The galaxy would never be the same. The Earth Embassy Station orbited at the edge of Council space, a masterpiece of human engineering that served as both a diplomatic center and a gentle reminder of humanity's capabilities. Its hull shimmered with the same dimensional technology that had defeated the invasion fleet, making it effectively untouchable. Inside, Ambassador Maria Rodriguez walked through halls filled with representatives from dozens of species. Many had never been allowed in Council space before, classified as too primitive or unimportant. Now they came seeking alliance with Earth, eager to learn from humanity's example. Ambassador, her aide, James Liu, approached with a tablet. The Tyroshi delegation has arrived. They're one of the species the Council was planning to invade next year. Maria nodded. Send them to Conference Room 3. And make sure they get the full technical briefing on our defensive systems. Through the transparent walls, she could see Earth ships patrolling nearby. Not the massive Dreadnoughts. Those remained hidden. These were smaller vessels, but their presence was message enough. Humanity was here to stay. In the main assembly hall, the new Galactic Accord was being debated. The old Council still existed, but its power was broken. Too many member species had voted to accept Earth's terms, seeing the benefit of cooperation over conquest. The Krellian Empire had resisted at first, threatening retaliation. That ended when human diplomatic vessels appeared over their 3 core worlds simultaneously, having bypassed every defense through dimensional folding. No weapons were fired. None were needed. The demonstration was sufficient. The medical exchange program is exceeding all projections, Liu reported. The cure for the Vorthan plague has saved 12 million lives already. In return, their biotechnology is revolutionizing our treatment of cancer. Good, Maria smiled. Real partnership. That's what we wanted. The communicator on her desk chimed. It was Admiral Chun, now Chief of Interstellar Relations. Maria, I thought you should know. We've received 15 new applications for the Protective Alliance. All species that were on the Council's conquest list. 15. Maria was surprised. That's more than we projected. Word is spreading, Chen explained. Every species that joins gets access to our defensive technology. Not the weapons, but the shields and early warning systems. Enough to make invasion costly. It was brilliant, really. Earth wasn't trying to conquer or control. They were giving other species the tools to protect themselves. Each world that joined became another voice against the old ways. Another example that cooperation yielded better results than conquest. There's something else, Chen added. We've detected scout probes from beyond Council space. The hegemony is taking notice. The hegemony, an empire that made the old Council look small. Humanity had known they would come eventually. It was one reason they had moved so quickly to reform the local galaxy. Are we ready? Maria asked. Getting there. The Dimensional Gate Network is ahead of schedule. Once it's complete, our alliance worlds can support each other instantly. No more isolation. No more picking off the weak one by one. Maria ended the call and returned to her work. There were trade agreements to negotiate, cultural exchanges to organize, and a dozen other tasks. Building a better galaxy was harder than conquering one, but infinitely more rewarding. That evening, she stood on the observation deck, looking out at the stars. A Zephyrin diplomat joined her, his feathered form elegant in the low light. My people owe yours a debt, he said softly. Our scout's sacrifice was not in vain. He saved us all, Maria replied. His warning gave us the time we needed, and you used it well. Tell me, did humanity always plan to change the galaxy? Maria considered the question. We just wanted to survive. But once we had the power, we realized we could do more. We could break the cycle. No more strong preying on the weak. No more civilizations hiding in fear. A noble goal. But there will always be those who prefer the old ways. True, Maria acknowledged. But they'll find it much harder when the weak can defend themselves. When cooperation provides more benefits than conquest. When the galaxy learns what humans learned long ago. Which is, Maria smiled. That diversity is strength. That innovation comes from challenge. and that the best defense isn't just bigger weapons. It's making sure everyone has too much to lose by starting a war. A ship emerged from dimensional fold nearby, bearing ambassadors from yet another species seeking to join the Alliance. The galaxy had thought Earth was defenseless. Now, Earth was teaching the galaxy how to defend itself. The revolution had only just begun.